Renu, you're on. So,
Yes, I am.
no, I was saying, Renu, the YouTube live is on.
Okay, so I think we are live now. So, Ritika, I think we can start.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today for the Pure Thinkers Public Speaking Contest. Thank you to Best Brains Learning Centers for sponsoring today's contest and encouraging the children. Before we get started, I'm sure you're all wondering what exactly Pure Thinkers is. Well, Pure Thinkers is a platform for our Pure Youth ambassadors to showcase their ideas and also develop their skills in the process. These ideas can possibly inspire solutions to current social issues and challenges. Because this Thinkers Contest is exclusively for International Women's Day, and this year's campaign theme is Choose to Challenge, we've decided to have our contestants speak about the stereotyping of women and why it is wrong. On our judges panel, we have 3 judges joining us today. First, we have Mr. Srini Gurapu. Mr. Srini is VP of Products, Design, and Innovation at Claris, a subsidiary of Apple, a leader in enterprise low-code solutions accelerating digital transformation. Mr. Srini Gurapu regularly speaks at many industry thought leadership conferences, CIO, CISO summits covering modern technologies such as low-code, AI, cybersecurity, and resilience. Mr. Srini, thank you so much for joining us today to judge our participants. Next, we have Mr. Rubetu Shimalesh. Mr. Rubetu is a social entrepreneur, a conscious filmmaker, and an enthusiastic public speaker, and a passionate humanitarian. Co-founder and CEO of Simian Ecotrek, which is a company that provides convenient, efficient, and unique tour services in Ethiopia for global tourists while empowering local communities. He started the company to offer personalized tour services to visitors and to address various social issues in Ethiopia, such as poverty, gender equality, the environment, and the lack of educational resources. His goal is to use business to empower others and make changes where change is needed. Mr. Rubetu, thank you for joining us. And finally, we have Ms. Aparna Kadari. Ms. Aparna leads the Information Security Operations Support and the engineering team dedicated to infrastructure and endpoint security. In her spare time, she writes poetry and has 4 anthologies published to her credit. She serves as vice chair for the Women in Technology Mentor Protege Program. She has also been a mentor at the Girls in Technology and Women in Technology. She also leads the marketing and communications function for her organization's Ascend Leadership Program. Thank you for joining us, Ms. Aparna. In fact, once again, thank you to all 3 of the judges for giving us their valuable time and being here to judge our participants. So, quick question to the judges before we get started with the speeches. So, what are you expecting from the participants today? Essentially, what does it take to be a good public speaker? Any particular qualities? Starting with Mr. Srini Gurapu.
So first and foremost, thank you very much for the opportunity to be part of this the special Pure event. I'm super thrilled to see all the youth come and share their point of view. When I look at the public speaking, I look for 3 distinct things. Number 1 is how prepared they are with their content, and particularly I look for the originality of the point of view. What is that unique point of view that they bring to that? It requires a lot of preparedness, but also what is their unique point of view, and then how well they deliver it. Delivery is the time management. And the second one is more about the style and the delivery, which is ultimately in the public speaking, it's all about making an emotional connection with the audience. So their ability to engage and enthuse, excite the audience and to make an impression. So I think, at the very high level, I think it's about the content and the style and the delivery of the thinking. At the end of the day, what is it that they leave the audience with?
I don't see Ritika.
Yeah, thank you. I think Ritika might have just dropped. Thank you, Srini. Same question. Let's give that to Ms. Aparna. Go ahead, please.
She might be on mute.
Aparna? Okay, or maybe while we wait for Aparna, Bubetu, what are you looking for in a good speaking, good speech?
Yeah, I think it's already been said, but for me, the most important thing is how engaging are the speakers, because the research of the topic, how well do they know their topic, how depth and how unique it is, but most importantly, how engaged is it? Because in order to understand, in order to be able to listen what they are saying, the delivery of the speech needs to be really engaging to attract the audience's attention. So for me, if I had to choose one thing, it's more that how much engaging their speech is on top of what already been said.
Thank you, Bubetu. I will ask Ms. Aparna to say a few words about her expectations.
My internet connection looks like it's going in and out, but if I do fade away, thank you for the opportunity to judge you guys. What I look for in public speaking is the passion, the enthusiasm to connect with the audience, and the sincerity with how you broach the topic.
Thank you, Ms. Aparna. So today we have 8 participants from chapters all over the country, New Jersey to California. I'm super excited and can't wait to hear what the participants have prepared for us. So let's begin. Our first contestant is Monish Avaru, a sophomore at Allenton East High School from Jacksonville, Florida. Hi, Monish. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. So may I start?
Yes, good luck.
Thank you. So here I have a scrambled Rubik's Cube, and some people may be able to solve one side like this. Some people may be able to solve one side and a little bit more like this. Some people may be able to solve even more than that, like this. And then some people may be able to solve the whole Rubik's Cube, like this. Now, this is similar to some women stereotypes because many women are expected to look like a solved Rubik's Cube. So pretty much they have to be perfect. And like they have to have a perfect nose, they have to have a perfect mouth, they have to have perfect eyes, perfect eyebrows, perfect hair, perfect skin, perfect size, everything. Now, this can be good and this can be bad because, I mean, first of all, it makes them look pretty, and who doesn't want to be pretty? They get like compliments from everyone, and they get like, everyone likes them if they're pretty. But then this isn't always a good thing because many people look at the outcome of being pretty, but they don't look at the struggles of being pretty. Like, for example, since everything has to be perfect, they always have to spend time for themselves, and they always have to try to look perfect 24/7. And even if they have like one thing off, they'll feel very insecure. And this just completely destroys their self-confidence. And then it just hurts people when they, even like for girls, even if they have like one thing off, they just feel like insecure and they don't feel good. And this can like destroy some people, and this just destroys their self-confidence and then makes them depressed. And like, for example, the research by Pew Research Center states that the most valued trait of women is that they're most attractive, and this was voted by 35% of the people that they interviewed, whereas only 11% of people said that for men that's the most valued trait. So that made it that in the research, the being attractive was valued the most for women, but it wasn't even in the top half for men. So that means that like women have so much pressure on being perfect and being attractive, whereas men, it doesn't matter because they have other things that are valued more for them. And this just makes them depressed. Like, for example, a research said that 10% of women are depressed, and more women are depressed than men. And this is just for like women in general. For teens, every 1 in 5 teens like, according to a report, every 1 in 5 teens has felt depressed in their past. And this just, it's like, that means 20% of teens felt depressed. And it's just so hard to like digest that, because people like, it's the fact that 20% of teen girls have been depressed. Like 20% of people have just gone into their room and cried because, and I guarantee you most of it is because they haven't looked to a certain level, or people made fun of them because of the way they looked. And it just hurts me that like people expect girls to look pretty when boys don't, because why do girls have to look pretty while boys don't? It's not fair. And this also leads to 3 times more women attempting suicide. And it just hurts, because that means approximately in every 4 people that commit suicide, 3 of them are women. And why is it like that? It just doesn't make sense. And it's not that like women rights or anything, it's just the expectations we have on women. And it's just not, I just don't feel it's right. Because how can we expect women to feel like, how can we expect women to be pretty, but why do we not expect men to be as pretty? And it just hurts my heart that someone from centuries ago thought it would be a good idea to put these expectations on women, but then not on men. And I don't understand why some parents still pass this on, that their little girls have to look good and be perfect at how they look, but men they don't need to do anything. All they need to do is get a good job. And why can't women do what they want? Why can't they chase their dreams? Why do only men have the opportunity to do what they want? Why are women always supposed to be? Why are women always supposed to like look pretty? And why are they always forced to do that? This is why there are 3 times more women who attempt suicide, and it's just not fair. So I feel that we need to stop this for the next generation. And I feel the only way we can do that is by when we have children, we should not put restrictions that we have put on girls, and we should just let them live freely, just like how we do for boys. Thank you.
Thank you, Manish. That was stimulating. So we want to know one positive thing and one negative thing about the speech from our judges. So starting with Mr. Srinigarapu, what did you think about Monish's speech?
Manish, that was a fantastic speech. The first one I really liked is your opening, the way you actually opened with the concept of rubric. I think that was a brilliant thing. And then the second thing is, there is one thing that can add to the experience that you created, is if you can actually use your body to emote the content that you're saying. So your voice modulation is pretty good, but if you can also use your body and the limbs to dramatize the emotion that you're conveying, I think that creates a better impact. But fantastic job.
We want to know from Mr. Rubetu. What is something that Monish can improve on, and what is something he did a very good job on?
That was an amazing job. I mean, it's pretty hard to look and give a speech on a Zoom, but your eye contact with the audience was amazing. I would add one thing that you really worked well is like the hook, which is your opening with the rubric. And one thing I would suggestion, Pravan, is it felt too general. If you can focus on a specific point or give one woman as an example, I think that would be more powerful.
Thank you so much.
Mrs. Parna?
It was amazing. Like the other judges said, you have the courage that I lacked, especially to talk about the opposite gender. I'm sure that the women in your life that you got inspired from are very proud of you. One constructive feedback I would like to give you is to move away from the use of like, which often we use as a crutch. And that is the only improvement I ask for.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Manish. Our
you
next
so much.
participant is DT Bumapali, a freshman at Edison High School from the Edison, New Jersey chapter.
Actually, we gave some time for the judges to collaborate before we bring in Diti, so they can put their numbers in place.
I've let in Diti already, so maybe for the next participant, I'll give some time.
Sure.
Okay.
Hello, Diti. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So you can start presenting your speech.
Okay.
Good luck.
Thank you. Okay, so picture this. There's a little middle school play happening, and there are a bunch of middle schoolers trying out. Obviously, there are lead roles that everybody is going for. There is a prince, a princess, and a knight. In most people's eyes, the princess would be a girl, a prince would be a boy, and again, the knight would be another. What did you think I was going to say? Another boy? Why can't most people think that I was going to say another girl instead of another boy? Is it because knights are supposed to be strong and are mostly played by male characters on TV? And speaking of strong, why do teachers say, I need some strong boys to come help me with these textbooks? Instead, why can't they say, I need some strong students to help? We all live in this world where we are to believe that men are sometimes more capable than women. Now, I do know that times have changed a lot since the past, and women have obviously been given a lot more rights to them that they didn't have back then. And these rights were given for a reason, but why are we still looked at a little bit differently? Women have proven themselves over and over again just to prove a point. And that point is that they should be treated exactly the same. There were people like Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Susan B. Anthony who have fought for the right to vote. But still, this world we live in, male and females can have the same exact job and do mostly the same exact thing, but they're still paid a little less. Let's take a look at one more example. In my English class, I recently started reading this book called Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. What really caught my eye was that in the first chapter, the concept that this book started off with was these women called sitters. And they just sit around all day gossiping because they all have other things that they would rather do, like suppose find a job. But it was really rare for women to go out and work. Instead, they would stay home, take care of the kids, and just do household chores. This is exactly what gender stereotypes are. It's just a belief of what men and women are like, and they are expected of certain behaviors and traits that are so-called appropriate for them. Now, obviously, everybody has feelings, but is everybody really allowed to show them without being judged? If you saw a woman or a girl crying on the side of the street, people would probably go over and help them, maybe console them, feel a little bit better. But if a man or a boy 13 or above was crying, people would, let's just say, judge them because boys are supposed to be tough and not show a lot of empathy when it comes to feelings, while girls are considered delicate. And no, we're definitely not born with any stereotypes like this. They're more taught, like learning a language, you're learning about stereotypes, especially about women. And you see these things on ads or social media, sometimes even just social interaction with others. You can be influenced by parents or just the entire world around you, sometimes even friends. And I'm not saying it's completely wrong, because it's perfectly fine for a girl to like purpley pink and sparkles and for boys to like race cars and sports. But when they're given access to things supposedly from the other side, they are mostly attracted to gender typical preferences. And again, this isn't going to be a problem mostly for women until these stereotypes knock them down over and over again and limit the goals that women have and what they strive for or what they believe that they can be. And once again, times have definitely changed a lot since the past, but stereotyping gender still continues. In order to really achieve what you want, it's not by ignoring that these stereotypes exist, but more so choosing what you want to do with them. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Diti. That was amazing.
Thank
Let's
you.
hear from the judges. Ms. Aparna, what do you think?
I thought that was amazing. I was telling a previous contestant that I did not have half the courage that you had at that age. And I applaud you to even picking a topic like this and being able to present. One word of caution for future is the opening statement was with so. And being a formal setting like this, I would probably ask you to make a deliberate attempt to move away with opening with so. That's all from me.
Mr. Srini, what do you think?
Diti, such a fantastic presentation. What I really liked about was your originality of thought, or staying away from the stereotypical. You focused on other dimensions, not just on the physicality of the attraction, but rather about the strength and the stereotypical thing. So the way you picked. Or even challenging the status quo about why can't a prince and princess be two women. So I think that originality of thought was fantastic. And just because I have to give something as an area of improvement, I think you have only because of that. And I wish I echo what Aparna said. I wish I were like in about 1% of what you are right now at your age. But if I have to give one constructive feedback is, you have a lot of important concepts, you're challenging a lot of status quo, you can actually exaggerate the emotion to create even bigger emotional impact. So, but I think, you really touched me. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Ubetu, what do you think?
They already said it, amazing performance. I love how you connected the specific examples of the school environment and connect that with our audience, with the audience, because we all have heard it since most of us went to school and kind of like that stereotype out there. So like amazing hook when you open it as an example, and then through the great language flow throughout the process. So I would give you, I would say like that one of your strength is the overall flow of your speech. Since we have to give the improvement, I would say is I will add into the improvements of body language. And that includes using your body as well as emphasizing a certain word, or concept, is to bring that emotional appeal even more. But overall, amazing performance. I love it.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll work on that.
Thank you, Diti. Now we're going to give 5 minutes to the judges to collect their thoughts and work on the scores. Thank you.
Do we have any participants? Can I talk?
We don't have any participants here.
No.
We are just
Okay,
giving.
just us. Can I please address Srini?
One
Yes.
quick thing though, we are still live on YouTube. So I was
Yes.
checking to see if we can pause that. So I don't know if, because other people might be watching what we are saying.
Sure.
So just saying.
Okay, sure. I just wanted to, sync with Srini and Vibhetu on the, if you have covered any compliments or topics, I would like to move on to something else instead of repeating what you said. So if that's okay with you.
I agree.
Okay. So shall I admit the next participant if you are done, or like shall I wait?
I think we're good.
Okay, so our next participant is Abhiram Taluri from Allen Denise High School from the Jacksonville, Florida chapter as well. Hi, Abhiram.
Hello,
How are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you. You can start your speech.
Okay. I have a confession to make. I withheld this information for a long time, and I'm very embarrassed that I could be so ignorant. As a young child, I thought I was supposed to be better than everyone else because of the fact that I was a boy. I thought no one could be better than me, especially not some silly girl that were meant to sit there and look pretty. Anyone that could be better than me was another boy. Where could this have come from? I have a strong, independent mother, grandmother, and sister, intellectual minds that could lead me down the right path, and sorry about that, and righteous minds to lead me down the right path. Yet I was secretly telling myself that I was special because of the fact that I was a boy, a little boy who knew nothing. Where could this have come from? Was it the fairy tale princesses that were always saved by their Prince Charming? Was it the superhero movies that always portrayed a man as the hero? Was it the Tollywood and Bollywood movies that I always watched as a child that always portrayed women in a negative manner? Or was it the video game culture that I was so immersed by that always depicted women as less than skilled than men? Despite my environment at home, I had biases against women. How many others thought or still think that gender plays a role in how you think of someone? I'm so sorry. Okay. The world is filled with biases. And the world is filled with biases. And I'm so sorry, my dog is running around. Many people still think that women are inferior to men due to their gender. Where could this have come from? Our society is taking its first steps into becoming more progressive and inclusive. But when we think of a president, we think of a man. When we think of a nurse, we think of a woman. When we think of a doctor, we think of a man. And when we think of a teacher, we think of a woman. There are so many biases and stereotypes about women in the workplace, at home, and in the virtual world as well. We see what the stereotypes against women are, and this is just a sample. There's so many stereotypes about numbers, about driving, about cooking that surround women. And we can go on forever and ever. And they are not just insulting, they are a violation of human rights. The United Nations themselves say stereotypes are a violation of human rights. Stereotypes cause less opportunities for furthering their education, expanding their career paths, and speaking out about their experiences. Many women who work outside the house are seen as being masculine, ice queens, or single and lonely. Women must expend double the effort to be on the same playing field as a man. And even when they reach this place, they must provide full explanations and justify how they got there. Take the recent controversy surrounding Jill Biden. Without researching anything about her degree, many under the influence of their perception bias preemptively believed that she had not earned and was not qualified to call herself a doctor. Though she seemed strong and laughed it off, this was a degree she worked hard for. And having someone call that hard work phony will surely affect her self-confidence. Stereotyping is a violation of the right to happiness all humans should be able to enjoy. Standing up to these oppressors often leads to violence and abuse, not just physically, but emotionally. And it's not just activists that we are talking about. A slight deviation from a little girl's normal routine, a woman who goes against societal norms, and a young lady wanting to go to a math competition rather than a beauty contest. And even the example of the beauty contest, girls who attend these competitions are being stereotyped. They all face the injustices society will throw at them, as well as at hands of their own family members, even today. There is a very important stereotype that we need to talk about: sexual violence. They all ask, why was she there? Why did she wear those clothes? Why didn't she speak up sooner? Victims are expected to be able to resist and fight back against their attackers effectively and be able to go to the police about this. The reality of the situation is that many victims of sexual assault are too traumatized and shocked by the situation at hand to be able to do anything. It may take days, months, and even years for them to come out about their horrible incident. And this is not just about strangers. Even people in relationships can be sexually assaulted. If someone says they have been raped by their partner, they will not be believed because they are in a relationship and it's okay. I went to a vigil held at a local temple for an assault and murder victim, Disha. This occurred in India. I remember reading articles and comments that questioned what a woman was doing outdoors at that time. Instead of feeling sympathy or empathy for someone who had been killed, they immediately blamed her for being out there in the first place. Even if someone thinks a stereotype is harmless, it causes harm to someone's self-esteem. But aren't there people that are fighting the stereotypes? There are. Aren't there families without traditional gender roles? There are. Aren't there men fighting the stereotypes? There are. A stay-at-home dad is seen as useless, but by doing that, he is challenging the stereotypes in his own way. It takes work, it takes time, but we will surely get there. Think of all the untapped potential out there. Think about all the crushed dreams. Think about all the withheld opportunities. I chose to challenge my biases, my preconceived notions. Will you too? Thank you.
Thank you, Abhiram. That was amazing. Let's hear from the judges. Mr. Srini, what do you think?
Abhi, what a fantastic opening. The thing that I really liked about your presentation was how vulnerable you are. It's great that you're able to put yourself in a self-reflective manner, and being vulnerable. I think it's a great asset in a public speaking. And in terms of something that you could take away on your journey to be a great public speaker, which I know you are, is number one, you could actually use the time management better because you're covering many different topics. Mm-hmm. And to be able to stitch together a unifying thread. Otherwise, within the 10 minutes, if you touch too many things, it might be difficult to emphasize on one thing, but it's a fantastic, the way you covered many different things was fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Ubetu, what do you think?
An amazing performance. That was wonderful. Yeah, I mean, I love how much in depth you went in terms of, and then kind of making it relevant to the current topic of Dr. Biden's situation, and kind of bring it in and make it relevant for us as well. And improvement wise, I would say use more emotional appeal and a degree of like your body language, and use the pauses effectively when you are pausing. When you get back, like make sure our attention is there. So like the use of more body language would be more helpful in this case as well. Overall, amazing job.
Thank you.
Ms. Aparna?
Great work there. And I especially love the call for action for yourself. The one improvement I suggest is next time, be prepared with your surroundings. It's acceptable, quite acceptable to have the distractions that you've had on the Zoom call, but for next time, hope you're better prepared with less distractions.
Okay, I'll make sure of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Aviram.
Thank you all.
Our next contestant is Rithik Pagaku, a freshman at Middlesex County Academy from the East Brunswick, New Jersey chapter.
We will be giving a couple of minutes for judges to put their scores and thoughts. Then we will admit Rithik.
are we ready for the next contestant judges?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so Ritika, let's
Okay.
bring in the next contestant.
So our next contestant is Rithvik Pagaku, a freshman from Middlesex County Academy from the Edison, New Jersey chapter. Hi, Rithvik. How are you?
Hello? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. You can get started with your speech now.
Okay. So when I was younger, I was oblivious to many things in my life. I had no idea of the issues that plagued other countries or the problems we had going on in our own country. I had never really felt the consequences of these issues. However, slowly but surely as I aged, I started to get a deeper understanding of my surroundings. And at one point, I came to realize the internal problems that we face in our own daily lives. The one main issue that really stuck to me was the injustices that women face. There is a clear boundary between men and women, and I believe a main cause for this boundary is the stereotypes of women. I have many women in my life who are very special to me, and I regret that they have to face this issue. Although I'm not a woman, this issue still concerns me. It concerns all of us. It is not just a women's issue, but it's also a world issue. So you're probably wondering the question, what is a stereotype? So stereotypes are known to be the images of a person or thing that society as a whole has. Stereotyping of women constitutes the expectations of what women should act like, be like, and look like. For example, a girl would be expected to like the color pink or play with Barbie dolls, while boys are expected to play with monster trucks and like the color blue. Girls and women are expected to dress in a certain way and are expected to be polite, sensitive, and other traits like that. Whereas men are expected to be strong, tough, and fierce. And these stereotypes in general can be very harmful as they limit us. They put us into categories and they tell us what we should and should not do. It really creates a toxic environment that gives us no benefits and it really just limits us. It removes our freedom. So if stereotypes are already this harmful, imagine how bad they would be for a group of people who are already facing inequalities. It just augments the entire issue, really. The most common stereotype that surrounds women is that they're weaker than men. And this whole idea is incredibly harmful and has a negative impact. It can lower the self-esteem that women have and cause a rift between men and women. This even can negatively affect men. And personally, as a male, I can see these effects on a daily basis. And when one of my male classmates had a competition in math and he was going against a female classmate, he had lost. And when he had lost, he felt very bad and embarrassed. And he kept trying to make excuses as to why he lost. And he was trying to make sure that it didn't count. And we could all tell that this was only because he lost to a female student. If he lost to a male student, he would not have been like this. But he believed that males were stronger than females. And that was the reason he did this. And if you think about it, this really comes from society and the environment in which we live. The fact that you have to have an effort to be made just to see women as equals shows how this whole situation really is wrong. And the stereotype also causes less women to attempt engineering fields as well, because they believe that they would not have as much of a chance to compete. This can be seen in the engineering field with just a glance. According to MIT, only 13% of engineers are women. And this is an incredibly low number, as the number of women and men on Earth is very close. So even those women who are in those fields are seen as lacking leadership traits and receive bad performance evaluations compared to their male peers. And women who are outspoken and assertive, they're normally seen as bossy, whereas if they're too quiet, they're seen as less ambitious and emotional. So either way, it's a lose-lose situation. And surprisingly, even women are affected by the stereotypes they place on themselves. And women have less confidence in themselves when pursuing fields dominated by men. Even high-achieving women in subjects such as STEM, science, math, engineering, technologies, they become reluctant to share their own ideas in group discussions on these topics because they don't want to seem too bossy. And this lack of confidence may hold some women back even from pursuing the higher paying jobs because they will believe that they cannot excel when they can. And the stereotyping can even lead to violence against women because of the assumptions that women are supposed to be doing chores such as cleaning, cooking, and other domestic tasks, while men should be the ones making money and being the breadwinners. And due to these roles, if a man feels superior and they don't feel as equals, this can really lead to domestic abuse. And when I was younger, I had one memory where I would always watch TV and I would always watch movies. And in these forms of media, women were always portrayed as the primary caretakers of the home. And from that experience, I'd always believed that men should not cook or clean the house because that would be a woman's job. And I decided that I should not cook because that was not my job. That was the job of the woman, right? And this was all due to the stereotypes that society had implanted in our brains. But this changed one day when I noticed my father was cooking biryani and he was also making like other foods and doing household chores. So from there, I realized that there's no real set in stone rule that you have to do this and you have to do that, right? So that was the day I started to do other chores and do the dishes, and I would start helping my father cook food. And so now that we have gone over some issues and some examples of gender stereotyping, it is important to discuss how we can fix this issue because this is an issue and we have to fix it. So we can talk with others about these stereotypes and how they negatively impact people. Personally, I've been doing that with Pure Femme and we've been breaking the taboo and spreading awareness about these issues. We can also respect others and give them a safe space to speak and discuss their feelings so they know that they're welcome. And lastly, we can speak up if somebody lets out a sexist remark, because sometimes these people don't realize what they're doing is wrong because it's normal to them and that's how they were raised. So it's very important to change them and make them understand that what they're doing is not right so that they can start helping also. And in order to stop this issue, we must normalize the fact that everybody is different and that nobody should have set expectations given by society, especially women, because these expectations can become harmful and they can limit people as well as create a gap between men and women. In a world where we want equality, this problem simply cannot go unfixed. So let's help end the stereotyping of women.
Thank you, Ritvik. That was amazing. Let's hear from the judges about what they think. Mr. Srini, what do you think?
Ritik, that was fantastic. And I like that you had some humor in it. The thing that I really liked about was some of the specific stats, like the MIT stat, that really profoundly succinctly and summarize the problem. If I were to give you some constructive feedback on your journey to be a great public speaker, which you're on, is that you could have used a statistic like that MIT as your opening statement. It took a long time to establish the point. Perhaps you could actually use that as a way to quickly bring somebody into the context, and then you could then have people take the journey along on the theme that you're talking about. But fantastic job.
Mr. Ubetu, what do you think about Ritvik's speech?
As he said, everyone is unique, and your speech is unique, and the way you deliver it was an amazing performance right there. Yeah, strength. I really like how you give specific examples. The school fight, your dad is cooking, your own personal connections. Those specific examples that aligns with the topic that you were talking with. So that was amazing strength right there. I would say one thing to improve on is you continuously start a sentence with so. That kind of will throw the audience's attention. So try to avoid those as much as you can. But amazing job.
And Ms. Aparna, what do you think?
When I heard you, Ritwik, it felt like a big head on small shoulders. And it actually felt like a supporter from my workplace because you touched on subjects that are very close to my heart. One area of improvement is maybe you were slightly nervous because you kept tapping in your chair and the screen went up and down. So for future, make sure you're holding on to something that will make you less nervous or that you're tapping less because judges and the other people watching you could get dizzy. So good job.
Thank you. So now we're going to give the judges a 20-minute break and we'll continue after that. So while the judges are on break, let's talk a little bit about Pure and what Pure does. So I have Manoj here, who is also part of Pure. So Manoj, tell me a little bit about what Pure Youth is.
Hey, Ritika, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so first of all, you guys doing a great job. I mean, you were a perfect host, Ritika. So I've been watching everything on YouTube live, and it's been wonderful because I was watching all the kids' performances and everything, and you know, for their age, you know, so what they're talking, it's it's something we all actually can learn from the learn from them, right? Because especially so now Ritwik, so because he covered most of the things, like he was talking about her dad cooking biryani and stuff, you know, that was wonderful. And also I'm actually so I'm a part of Pure sponsorships team, Ritika. So the Pure sponsorships team, I have actually like a lot of other programs too, right? You know, the Pure the Pure livelihoods, Pure Smiles, the Pure disaster management, also the part of Pure sponsorships. I also want to talk about how a typical volunteer job, because like every day, so we get a lot of requirements from different people, like from India or from here in US or from other countries where Pure actually helps, a lot of people. So we get a requirement from a lot of people, and then we talk to them about things like, what are you doing, because a lot of education requirements and everything, because a lot of people studying and they're orphans or semi-orphans. So though they have a family, but they're, the financially poor. So we talk to them, we let know them, like, what are you guys doing and everything. So, and then, and then we find the donors for them, right? And then because that's that's great, right? And also it's been wonderful. I mean, I think it's been almost 1.5 years for me, the part of Pure, sponsorships team. It's been a quiet journey for me. I actually spoke with a lot of people, and also my team. I mean, everyone in Pure, we do a great job actually, right? How about you, Ritika? Like, are you a part of any Pure Youth chapter?
Yeah, I'm actually part of Pure's Accelerated team, which is a team of college students that are directors of various parts of Pure, such as I'm director of marketing. So I take care of all the marketing efforts of Pure, such as creating event campaigns and letting people know about Pure. And then my peers They take care of the YouTube channel that Pure has, and we have a grants director who takes care of all the grants. You know, looking for grants so that Pure can help more people. And we have a director who takes care of the monthly newsletter we have, where you can read about all of Pure's efforts for that particular month. We just published our February newsletter. You can find it on Pure's website.
Yeah,
And
I actually got that because I actually you know, subscribe to that so that I'm getting all the newsletters. So that was actually a fantastic idea because everyone needs to know what Pure is doing on that month, right? You know, like on a school thing or a sponsorships, Pure Youth, because we're getting a youth chapters every month, I believe. Like, you know, the 222 are adding everywhere. You know, we're also getting big in the USA, right? You know, I think I saw the Facebook post of Shaila Taluri in. She was also talking about the Pure Youth chapters in Hyderabad and different areas in India. That's fantastic.
Exactly.
That's fantastic because the Pure Youth is actually reaching internationally, right? So that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Exactly. We're doing a lot in India right now. We've opened about, I think, 6 schools in tribal areas, and we've given them, you know, solar energy. So now they have LED lights for 8 hours. So all the students can, you know, study without any difficulties with that. And we've also started helping them with agriculture. So we're teaching them organic farming so that they don't have to rely on any other sources. Yeah, Pure is doing a lot. And, you know,
I saw the
as
post
the
too.
marketing director, it is, you know, my responsibility to, you know, let everybody know about what Pure is doing so that they can also join hands with us and help all the children in India and all of the world. I know we're doing a lot in Ethiopia also.
Oh, yes.
We're doing Pure Femme in Ethiopia, and that's great. So yeah. So what do you do for Pure on a daily basis? Do you reach out every day, or how does your responsibilities, how does that work for you?
Yeah, so we team up of 5 people in the sponsorships team, Ritika. So me, myself, I mean, like myself, Bharati is actually, you know, the leading the, you know, the group, and so we have a few volunteers in India as well, right? So actually, you know, my part is I talk to a lot of students every day, you know, because a lot of students, because we have active students where you know, we offer them the you know, the monthly financial needs, the hostel fee, you know, the expenses and everything. And I talk to them about their education also, you know, what are they doing on their daily basis and everything. You know, if they need something from us, you know, some kind of a books or something like the groceries or, you know, something, right? Because, and also we do get a lot of emails from different people because our info@pureonline.org is actually everywhere on the social media because a lot of people knows about it, and they actually email us like about their problem, and then, you know, if it's something to do with the sponsorships, and then I take it out and then I call them about the problem, you know, if it's something in our area of interest, because we do all the education and everything, right? So and then I call them, and also and then I take all the notes and everything. So what are they looking for and everything, you know, and then we discuss as a group, you know, if something is valid, so we definitely help them, you know, like paying their tuition fees or something, or they're paying their hostel fees. It's quite interesting because a lot of people from different the parts of the India, because even in Andhra and Telangana, we talk to a lot of people every day. So because that's fantastic, and helping them, it also gives you a lot of happiness on the daily basis, because I'm also a developer, and also work as a volunteer in Pure. So it's kind of a, you know, balancing and everything. So it's fantastic. I never get tired working for Pure. So that's one thing I am proud of. So what I am and what I'm doing. So tell about us, Ritika. So are you currently doing I mean, like, are you a freshman or sophomore?
Yeah, I'm a freshman at Rutgers Business School. I'm studying finance. So I joined Pure about a couple months ago. They just started the Pure Accelerated program, so I joined. And my interests lie in the business area. So I thought that marketing would be something that I could learn and also help Pure with. So yeah, and I think that Pure Youth is such a wonderful program. It helps a lot of us students, learn the skills that are very important for us, with helping Pure, and also, developing our personality and all of our skills that we need to, be successful in our careers.
Because I'm
Pure has,
personally a big fan of the Pure Youth chapter, Ritika, because they have this tag called the Children for the Children, right? Because at their age, the 7-year or 8-year kid, so what are they doing right now? Because they're raising the funds and helping the children in different parts of the world. It's actually something we should all learn about, right? Because I think I'm not sure if I'm doing the same thing at my age. I mean, the 7 years, I'm probably playing somewhere outside, and also, I mean, this is quite amazing. I mean, what the kids are doing, because they have their things, because they want to play somewhere, because they want to do something else, but they are actually raising the funds and helping the people in different parts of the world. I mean, this youth program is, something amazing, right?
Exactly. I mean, being involved in volunteering services from such a young age really does shape your personality. And, we're really encouraging children to, help and share, and all these wonderful qualities that we all have and should have. I think encouraging children to take part in helping each other is wonderful, really. Yeah. You're right about that.
Yeah, totally.
Exactly. And do you want to talk about the other events that we have coming up, which are a part of Pure Thinkers?
So
we have the art contest, the poetry contest, and also the 2 essay contests coming up.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes. So for art, we're looking for an empowered or powerful woman. A piece of art that may represent the qualities or characteristics of women, or examples of achievements of women. And then we have poetry, where the participants can talk about women, respect, and, what does it mean to be equal? And then we have an essay contest for middle schoolers, where they can write a letter to a famous woman of their choice, congratulating her on her success and thanking for the contribution she made to women's rights. And we also have an essay contest for high schoolers, where they can write an essay about roots of gender inequality and their expression in today's society. So those are the events.
That's wonderful, Ritika. That's wonderful. That's a lot we're doing. I love the hashtag choose set to challenge. Wow.
Right. Yes, that's this year's campaign for International Women's Day. Choose to challenge.
Yeah, I'm actually a fan of these hashtags, because even in Twitter I follow a lot of hashtags. So I think we can be part of Twitter too, right? I mean, the Pure Online Twitter.
Right. We just opened up our account on Twitter, so please go follow us on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, so
I would like to share a couple of other contests we did earlier. One is for the Valentine's Day we did for grades 1 to 5, for the youth ambassadors who are in grades 1 to 5. We asked them what is love in their view, share their thoughts and what is love in their thoughts. We got quite a few impressive ideas. What they shared is love is caring for each other. Love is being kind to one another, helping someone without expecting anything in return. Those thoughts are so amazing, being young kids, grades 1 to 5, and they care. a kid said, love is hugging each other. And one thought that resonated so well with me is like, love is not selective. Just like sunlight, love everyone, don't be selective. So their thoughts were so amazing, so powerful at the young age. We were so happy and excited to see that. And another contest we did was in India, where the kids from the shelter homes that we support, almost 10 shelter homes, participated in that, where they had two topics. What is freedom meant for them? And the other topic is, what are the barriers for them to achieve their goals or freedom? So they shared amazing thoughts as well with essay writing. So those were two great contests. I thoroughly enjoyed learning about the kids' ideas about freedom or love.
That's wonderful. I want to say something about love. So I think love is eternal, as we all know. And also love is actually looking happiness in a small things. Like in a daily basis, right? So love is actually making a coffee to your mom or dad, right? So that's wonderful. I love it. I love it. So are we ready for the next contestant, or?
Yeah, we are ready.
Okay, so our next contestant is Bhavyasri Sugula, a junior at Basis Scottsdale from the Scottsdale, Arizona chapter. Hi, Bhavyasri, how are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you very much. How is everyone today?
Good. You can get started with your speech.
Okay, sure. Adi ammai lagenena. Ammai litla chestara. The same words I hear every single day. In the morning when I wake up, in the afternoon when I'm finished with my classes, and in the night when my insomniac self has finally fallen asleep. Now, I understand. You might be wondering, what am I saying right now? So let me rewind. These phrases, translated from Telugu, basically mean, is that even like a girl? And do girls do that? Small phrases they may seem like, but big meaning and history they hold. This is the very root of the stereotype for women. In social psychology, a stereotype is an overgeneralized belief about a particular group of people. However, stereotypes are not just mere misconceptions. They are preconceived notions, ideas from the past that people hold on to and bring into the future situation. And this isn't acceptable whatsoever. However, it only exists today because we allowed it in the past. It was so normalized back then. And it's not out of ignorance. It's out of a lack of knowledge. However, now that we have the knowledge, now that we have the access to see our past mistakes, now that we are given a chance to correct the present for our future, why are we not disabling these atrocities to society, especially the stereotype around women? Now, stereotypes aren't that easy to dismantle, we must admit. But this has been going on for a very long time. Now, let me set it into perspective from my experience. And don't worry, my experience isn't something unique. In fact, every single girl goes through it. However, in my situation, my ethnicity, me being Indian, plays a key role into it. At a young age, these stereotypes are emphasized. From the minute you start walking, you have to learn how to cook, you have to learn how to clean, you have to learn how to do your makeup, you have to learn how to look pretty, you have to wear certain clothes, you have to wear a certain type of makeup, you have to sit a certain way, you have to eat a certain way, you have to be respectful in front of elders. All of these combined together pile up on you from a small age. When guests come, you're expected to serve them tea, cookies, coffee, snacks, whatever the elders say. And keep in mind that this is only directed towards women. Males could completely sit down and stay there. But women, they have to wait. They have to wait to even eat a bite. They could go mealless for a whole day, but they still have to wait. And on top of that, we have social media and societal beauty standards. When I was younger, I remember staring at the actresses and wondering, why can't I be like them? But as I grew up, I realized how toxic what I was seeing was. Actresses are portrayed as beautiful, slim, fair-skinned with perfect lips, perfect eyes, perfect personality. They're also the vulnerable one. They're also the one with the lack of action. They're also the one that are too emotional. They also perpetuate the negative beauty standards of today. For example, let us take a look into bleaching products. Fair and Lovely, for example, in India. So many kids trying to fit the expectations put down by media try to use it. Obviously, we may think this is completely fine. They want to be someone. They're aspiring to be someone. They have a role model. But is it worth following your role model when these kids at a young age are being hospitalized for using such products because of the stereotype? At a young age, they're developing eating disorders. Why should a 9-year-old girl worry about what she's eating and how she looks when she is still growing up? In my situation as well, I've also experienced eating disorders as well. In fact, I'm currently battling one. I have enough knowledge to know that what I'm doing is wrong, that what I'm doing is conforming to the beauty societies and wanting to be skinnier. I know it is wrong, but I'm still conforming to it. And that is another mistake. We can go around and blame everyone for causing these negative stereotypes. But what about you? What about you are the one who decides to conform to them and perpetuate them further? Let me put it into even more perspective. Periods. In Indian culture, when you're on your period, you're seen as impure. You're not allowed to pray to gods. You're not allowed to touch anyone without people making a fuss. But people will refuse to look at the real reason why we are ostracized when we're on our periods. On our periods, girls are known to contain immense amount of energy that is greater than the gods, which is perceived as a threat. But people don't want to see that, obviously, right? They want to see that the girl is emotionally unstable during her period. She's impure. She's not allowed to go anywhere. Look at the Salem witch trials that occurred in the 1600s. The main target was women only, because everyone believed that women were emotionally unstable and they were the only ones capable of witchcraft. Look at why in Britain and America, women were denied voting rights. Simply because people, especially men, said they're emotionally unstable to decide upon any policy or any candidate. This is purely irrational. And we let it carry on till today. There are certain times when I would try to do something and people would go, "You're a girl. Why are you doing that? Why can I not do that?" I am a human as well. And as I grew up, I realized by allowing myself to listen to what other people say about how a girl should be, by listening to other people talk about how I should be, I am at fault as well for perpetuating the negative stereotype. Like I stated, in the morning when I wake up, I'm always blamed. Why do you sleep like that? Why do you have to do this? Look at your room. Is that like a girl? When I come out of my classes, I'm reprimanded. Why are your curtains closed? Why can't you go clean your room? Why can't you help do the chores? And then at night as well, when I stay up late night just for a successful future, why do I need to be commented on not studying and allowing myself to rely on a future husband? Why can't my independence be recognized? And as I stated, dismantling these stereotypes is impossible at times. But we have allowed the stereotype to carry on from ancient Greece. Centuries and centuries of the stereotype, and we still perpetuate it to this day. Look at makeup products. Men initially wore makeup. Dresses were initially made for them because of their physiological structure. But the roles reversed, and women were the one. And then when they see a man wearing makeup, it suddenly becomes feminine. Why can't, for once, people be like, maybe they're insecure about their eyes, so a man likes wearing eyeliner? Why don't people accept that? And especially when we see certain situations like this happen in public, our general reaction perpetuates the bystander effect. We just simply allow it to happen. And this is unacceptable. The problem was in the past, and now we have more freedom. We have a voice to speak out, but yet we're still silent. And the change starts from an individual recognizing the negative and toxicness of these stereotypes, trying to break through, trying to reason, trying to fight for it continuously without giving up. That is the main point. I do not want to live another day to hear a comment about why what am I doing is not like a girl. Because in the end, we are all human and we are unique. There is no reason for these stupid stereotypes to control our everyday life, especially when you have the voice, especially when you have the knowledge.
Sorry to interrupt. Your time is up, 10 minutes.
Yep.
You can wrap up.
Thank you.
Ritika, you're talking on mute.
Thank you, Bhavyasri, for the passionate and powerful speech. Let's hear from the judges. Ms. Aparna, what did you think about Bhavyasri's speech?
I felt like it was me who was talking, except that a gazillion times better. There is one feedback only that I would like to give, which is minimize on the use of time effectively, because I meant maximize on the time, use of time effectively, because we all saw that she ran over, but very impactful speech.
Mr. Srini, what did you think about Bhavyasri's speech?
Obviously, what a fantastic, fantastic presentation. You literally took me on a journey. I was so immersed with the journey that you took me on. And in fact, it reminded me of my call to action, which is like, what can I do differently? So thank you for taking me on the journey. And if I were to give you a constructive feedback, you're such a passionate and powerful leader. There are sometimes, there are some concepts that were repetitive. So if you could compact it and then bring it to a closing statement, that could have helped you in the time management. But I think this is fantastic. Thank you for taking me on the journey.
Mr. Rubetu, what do you think?
You are not the only one who forgot the time. I forgot how long you've been speaking. I can hear you. I can listen to you the whole day. Your passion, enthusiasm, body language, emotion, questioning the audience itself is an amazing throughout your speech. I love it. And beyond what I just said, one thing I would say to improve is at some point there was a lot of use of now and however. Those words felt it was dragging you a little bit longer. So try to avoid using those words. But beyond that, I love how passionate you are.
Thank you for the feedback. Now we're going to give the judges a few minutes for them to jot down their notes.
Wow, that was quite a performance from Bhavya.
Yes, I loved her passion and how impactful her speech was, especially the way she paused between each thought. I think that was really impactful, and the way she, used her words to really express her emotions, and, the nuances in the speech were just amazing.
I know. I just want to listen to her. I'm gonna do. I'm actually gonna rewind it and watch it again.
Me too.
That was
It was really impactful.
I also appreciated that she was questioning us, like the audience, in between her statement, to say kind of like, where do I stand type of thing. So I really love that. It's
like engaging everyone, right?
Yeah. So you kind of like forces you to pay attention and question your stand on the issue that she was raising. Amazing job.
Yeah.
Isn't it surprising? Like even this generation is like we are in 2021 and still the girls like in this generation also talking about like the frustration. I can see everything like what girls go through, and we have passed so many generations of where women were treated like that, and it's still going on, right? So
definitely, struggle is real.
Yeah. The thing that I really liked was the maturity, where instead of blaming for things and people around for the state, and she basically reflected on the change has to start from me. And it's like, it's like I'm part of the solution. It's not just the reflecting on the people around. So I think, that was so much maturity and passion.
And it takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable, especially when so many people are watching, where you share your real life experiences and be judged for it. At that age, I think it really takes courage.
And the Telugu opening was brilliant. It was actually done very well.
Yeah,
I was about to say that, Srini Garu.
It was the same thing. We grew up back in home when we were children. It was the same thing. Girls will not do like this. Girls will not sit like this. These were the stereotypes we grew up. And that opening statement so resonated with me because the same thing we went through.
I think we have our next participant waiting. So Ritika, go ahead.
So our next participant is Ramsha Tasneem from Natomas High School. She's a 10th grader from the Sacramento, California chapter. Hello, Ramsha. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Can you give me a minute, please?
Sure.
Hey, Ritika, as we have a minute here, so I just posted on Twitter using those hashtags. So it was good.
Thank you. Thank you so much for posting. It would be great if everybody posted with the Pure Thinkers hashtag and also the Choose to Challenge hashtag.
Yeah, I also added the Pure Youth and Pure hashtags, and also tagging Twitter women and yeah, some other people. But yeah, it was fun. Yes.
Ramsha, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Okay, sorry. Hello, everyone. Have you ever thought about what image you get when you think about nurses? The first thing we can think about is a woman wearing white or blue uniform standing beside the doctor. But why not a man? According to statistics, only 10% of men are into nursing. Many children are habituated into wearing a particular color since they're young. Boys wear blue and girls wear pink. This is because of the stereotypes we grow up with, which categorizes colors, clothes, and even jobs into a particular gender. A 14-year-old girl, Ella Fields, once said that colors should not have genders associated with them. They're just colors, and I totally agree with her. Stereotypes are common. They start not since we're able to talk and not since we're able to walk, but they start even before we're born. We all know the trend, gender reveal trend, right? Where we find out if it's a boy or a girl. People start differentiating. Boys should like blue and girls should like pink. Men are the breadwinners of the family and women are just housewives. Stereotypes like these are dangerous. They decrease confidence in women and limit them into what they can do and what they cannot do. This stops the growth of women. Women are capable of doing a lot, but stereotypes like these are stopping them to do so. We should end this, and we can do it by spreading knowledge and about gender equality. We have to stop living the way people have been living, and we have to shape our lives with our own choices. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramsha. Let's hear from the judges. Mr. Srini, what do you think about Ramsha's speech?
Ramsha, this is a fantastic presentation. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. The thing that I really liked about was just opening with the stereotypical convention about a nurse and bringing everybody into the situation to connect with the problem. I think you did that really well. And then in terms of an area for improvement is and one other positive is like the fact that you even ended earlier. That could also be a positive. It doesn't mean that if you have 10 minutes, you have to use all the 10 minutes. If you can make a convincing argument in less time, you should end it. I think that's a great thing to do. And then an area for improvement is I think you can trust yourself to go deeper into the content. You could make even bigger big analysis and the compelling arguments, and then with a closing action, I think you can develop further. But everything else is perfect.
Thank you.
Ms. Aparna, what do you think?
I think Srini summarized it really well. A small addition is that I wanted to listen to you a little more. One area of improvement, minimize on the uhs and the ums, maybe practice on public speaking a little more, and you'll do great.
And Mr. Rubetu, what do you think?
Amazing job. I love how you use research supports to construct your argument. That was really well done. Within a short period of time, you give us that statistics and then kind of put your position in there. That was wonderful. One area of improvement, I would say, is go a little bit specific. If you generalize it too much, then you kind of lose the audience. But if you go like pick one nurse and create that nurse for us, give us that imagery, make me feel that I'm watching her, talking to her. So like the more specific you dip in, the better it's gonna help you appeal that emotional connection with the audience. Overall, you did an amazing job and wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ramsha, for your speech. That was great.
Thank you.
That was wonderful, Ritika. I just want to tell you, I really like your background. So what are these Best Brains? What do they do?
So Best Brains is actually our sponsor for today's event. So they're actually an enrichment program designed to enhance, children's overall academic development. They have board certified teachers, to work with children on a weekly basis to have a fun-filled interactive learning environment. So, it's really to help children, learn in, different ways, whatever helps them. And, they teach everything from abacus, math, English, general knowledge to SAT, prep, public speaking, and so on. So they have a lot of services. So you can go check them out at bestbrains.com.
Oh, that's wonderful. Like, do they have some kind of a subscription or something there where people can actually subscribe to?
Yeah, once you go on their website, you can, find a location that's close to you, and you can go there for, a diagnostic test, and then to get more information also.
Oh, do they have locations like everywhere, like in Northeast and West and everywhere, like South?
Yeah, they have, locations all over the US. And I think they're also in, the Northeast and pretty much all over. They have a lot of centers where you can go and you can, take your child to, get their services. So it's great.
That's great. I just have this COVID question, but do they also do like online and everything, like, the Zoom sessions or some kind of video tutoring and everything?
Yeah, they have a one-on-one online tutoring as well. And so you can get, homework help or anything that you need online also. You don't have to go to their center. And you can also, chat with them online to see how they can help you for your needs. So
oh, that's wonderful.
Super convenient.
Yeah, very convenient. Like, as people actually, they want to do everything online these days. They just don't want to go to a center and, yeah, that's nice.
Yep.
Are we ready for the next contestant?
In just a minute.
While we are waiting for the next participant to join, on behalf of our contestant admin committee, we would like to thank Best Brains for enabling us to do this event, sponsoring this event. Without their help, it would have been that easy. Thank you, Best Brains, for enabling us to do this contest.
I'm sure they have a Twitter handle. I should have actually tagged them, on my tweet. I think I'll go and do that.
Another one. Yeah, we can do another tweet tagging them.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So the other thing that, Sharmila, I think we should point out is the number of judges that we have judging the competitions, not just the public speaking part of it, but also the other parts of the contest. We have some very eminent judges helping us out with the contest for art, for essay, and then for the middle and high school essays and poetry. So I think we are very excited to have their help for this, and the information for all of that. I think Ritika can help on the next break. Maybe we can look at that and look at some of that information.
I think we have Shreya. So,
all right, very well. Let's go to Shreya.
So our next contestant is Shreya Buddhi, a freshman from Lawrenceville High School from the Lawrenceville, New Jersey chapter.
Hi.
Shreya,
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. You can get started with your speech.
Hello, judges. Thank you so much for this amazing opportunity. Did you know that less than 50% of working age women in the labor market are that's barely half of the women all over the world. And that figure has barely changed over the last quarter of a century. That's according to the United Nations. Gender equality It's not only a basic human right, but it's also a vital cornerstone for a peaceful, prosperous, and harmonious society. As humanity achieves new heights, we need to work hard to move forward. Common stereotypes like women are bad drivers, or the stereotype that all women want to get married and have tons of children, hurt the image of women and degrade them. In order to combat gender stereotypes, it's significant that we understand what they are and how they work to make women seem submissive and inferior in comparison to their male counterparts. When a baby is delivered in a hospital, they're typically given a blanket, socks, and a very cute hat. However, they separate the genders by color by giving the boys blue items and the girls pink. Why has no one asked how or why the color pink became a girl color and the color blue a boy color? Many people immediately associate the color pink with all things feminine and girly. The color pink adds to the stereotype that women are expected to be fragile, delicate, breakable. Color shouldn't be gender specific. By stereotyping young children when they first come into the world, you're teaching them that it's all right and normal to be boxed into a certain category where they can only do certain things and partake in certain activities. Of course, there's nothing wrong with girls liking the color pink and boys liking the color blue, but we shouldn't automatically assign these colors to children. Gender stereotyping is honestly a really, really big topic. It's a broad topic, and many people don't understand what gender stereotyping is. Gender roles are really, really talking about society and how we are expected to talk, act, speak, dress, groom ourselves based on our assigned sex at birth. For example, girls and women are generally expected to dress in typically feminine ways and to be polite, accommodating, and nurturing. However, the same is not expected for boys. While I've primarily discussed the negative ways that gender norms affect women, it most definitely affects men as well. Hypermasculinity is an exaggeration of the stereotype behavior that men believe is thought to be masculine. By being aggressive, demanding, insensitive, they believe that they are meant to compete with other men and dominate feminine people. Furthermore, why is it when a woman stays at home to start and raise a family, it's viewed as normal? However, when a man quits his job to help raise his family while the woman works, we look down on it. Some people are quick to assume that teachers, flight attendants, and nurses are women, and pilots and engineers are men. While statistics may show that the gender majority in these fields correlate to the stereotypes that we created, we need to work harder and take the extra step forward to break down these ideas that we have conditioned ourselves to believe as a society. Society is constantly changing and reworking these gender norms, so we need to make sure that we stay up to date. Extreme gender stereotypes are harmful because they don't allow individuals to fully express themselves and their feelings. For example, it's harmful for men to feel like they're not allowed to cry or express sensitive feelings. While the list continues, I have made my point, and I would like to take the remainder of my time to discuss women's fight for equality. And let me emphasize that again. Women's fight. Women had to fight to get the same rights as men. White women and women's organizations not only worked to gain the right to vote during the late 1800s and early 1900s, they also worked for broad-based economic and political equality for social reforms. Between 1880 and 1910, the number of women employed in the United States rose from 2.6 million to 7.8 million. But there's a significant differentiation that needs to be pointed out. White women were given the right to vote, not all women. The Black community was theoretically equal before the law after emancipation, including theoretical suffrage from 1920 for Black women. However, in reality, most Black men and women were effectively barred from voting around 1870 until the passage of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Despite the 15th and 14th Amendments guaranteeing the civil rights of Black Americans, the right to vote was systematically taken away by white supremacist state governments. by being in the middle of two minority intersectionalities, women of color find themselves to be working even harder to push against gender norms. After reading an article from the Brookings Institute, a highly accredited think tank established in Washington, D.C., Adia Harvey Wingfield, a researcher at the Brookings Institute, says, for instance, in today's professional occupations, networks, mentors, and connections play important roles in advancement. Research indicates that Black women are more ambitious and more likely to say that they want to advance in their companies than their white woman counterparts. But they're less likely to find mentors who will help aid their climb up the corporate ladder. It should be noted that these problems are not confined to Black women. In a recent study, sociologist Margaret Chin found that racialized and gendered forms of sexual harassment are experienced by Asian American women. This leads to isolation and exclusion from leadership opportunities. Latinas also find that coworkers can interact with them on the basis of stereotypes that in their country, they're seen as unintelligent or illegal. These representations need additional work to disapprove. Women of color are usually underrepresented in professional, high-quality jobs in law, medicine, academia, and business. But if they are, they're most likely the only ones in an organizational environment. They're more likely to doubt the company's commitment to inclusion and equality, and therefore more likely to want to pursue opportunities elsewhere. However, we have role models to look up to, like Indra Nooyi, the CEO of PepsiCo, or Kamala Harris, our first female vice president. There are women of color that are constantly fighting to break the glass ceiling. Even in our own organization, I am proud to say that we have multiple women of color in higher up positions, such as Ms. Shaila Taluri. It is amazing to see how much women can accomplish, even on an uneven playing field. When talking about female empowerment, the issue of equal pay has to be addressed. It's a common stereotype that men can accomplish so much more than women. If the playing field was even, you would see so many more women entrepreneurs and CEOs than you see today. It's hard to see strong, independent women that we look up to not being paid the same amount of money due to their gender, a variable that they can't control. It doesn't affect their work ethic or their ability to complete the same tasks as their fellow peers, but it does stop them from being able to have the same opportunities as men. And let's make sure that we get this clear. Men are not being paid more because they are more experienced, but differences in pay are caused by occupational segregation. It's shameful that we have been advancing as a country yet moving backwards at the same time. Together as a society, we can make changes to this corrupt system. Today, we have the power and the platform to make an impact, and our future generations will thank us for implementing equal rights. We are strong, we are powerful, and today we can make a really big difference. Thank you so much for this opportunity. It has been lovely talking to you all.
Thank you, Shreya. That was wonderful. Let's hear what the judges think about your speech. So starting with Mr. Srini, what did you think about Shreya's speech?
Yeah, that was a fantastic presentation, and I really loved how much you own this topic. I really like your emotions. You were smiling for all the positive, accomplishments, and you're very actionable and strong when you're making a point about the status quo, the unfortunate status quo. So I really liked your emotional expression. And if I were to give you some improvement, just because I have to give you some feedback, which is you touched on many important topics. Started with the gender inequality in the employment, to then getting into the women of color, to pay segregation or the pay scale difference. There was like a theme. You could perhaps stitch the theme in a better way so that you could make more compelling arguments and tying that to actionable items. So, but in the end, you ended with a positive note. I really, really loved it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ritika, you are talking on mute.
Mr. Rubetu, what did you think about Shreya's speech?
I want to keep you going. You had controlled the whole stage across the room. That was amazing energy, the passion, the energy, the body language, the facial expression, all of it. And the content was amazing as well. But your performance in the stage control was beyond I can express it. And one thing that I would give you to improve is I think you were looking at a script. You were going in two different ways, like sideways, and that kind of distracted him. I want you to look at me and put the whole content in my head. So next time, trust yourself because you know the content. When you were looking at those, I know you were not reading. You just went going back and forth. So trust yourself and give it to us and look at us in the eyes and give it to us because you had the whole stage under your umbrella. Amazing performance. I love it.
Thank you so much. I will definitely take that feedback into consideration.
And Ms. Aparna, what did you think?
Yeah, that was amazing. I was particularly very impressed with certain words: intersectionality, unintelligent, academia, break glass scenarios. I mean, that is pretty impressive for someone your age. Just like Srini said, because we have to give you an area of improvement, I want you to very consciously hear yourself when you are trying to drive impact. And by the reduction of really, really. I know we all love using impactful words, but minimize on the use of really, really.
Thank you so much for all of your feedback. It was really an honor to be here in front of you guys today. Thank you.
Thank you, Shreya, for your wonderful speech. So that was our last contestant. And before we finish up the event, I would like to take some time to introduce all of you to the rest of our judges panel. So let's take a look at who we have. So in the art category, we have Moshe Dayan, who is a self-taught artist. Mr. Moshe Dayan depicts day-to-day observations with pops of color. He didn't have a formal training in art. He took it intuitively, he says, in his childhood and found happiness in painting in the last few years. His paintings remind us that the world around us is filled with beautiful sights and moments. Next, we have Ms. Lakshmi Samavedam. Ms. Lakshmi is a freelance artist and educator based in Hyderabad, India. Having done her bachelor's in commerce, she was in the banking industry for a decade. She left her corporate job to bring her creative passion to fruition and pursued her art education at Lalit Kalakshetra, Coimbatore, Bachelor of Fine Arts. She's been a part of various prestigious art exhibitions. Her paintings have been exhibited in various galleries like Telangana State Art Gallery, Strokes Art Gallery, Art Trends Coimbatore, to name a few. Her art is found in many private collections in the US, UK, and several corporates in India. Next, we have the poetry category, in which we have Dr. Nivedita Lakera. Ms. Nivedita is a board-certified internal medicine doctor. She has more than a decade of experience in inpatient medicine. She's considered to be one of the leading feminist contemporary poets and a staunch advocate of gender equality in all spheres of life, especially medicine and technology. She has sustained a massive stroke during the second year of her internal medicine residency. This jolting incident proved to be life-changing and made her aware of the fragility of life and the purpose of her own journey. She's a prolific writer, having written 4,000 poems and prose, besides having created a massive body of artwork, all while being dedicated to her professional practice of medicine. We have Mr. B.P. Padala and Ms. Savarni Sanka in the essay judges panel. So Mr. Padala completed his graduation in BE Mechanical in 1990 and did his MBA in Technology Management in 2005. Mr. BP Padala is the founder and president of CBIT Entrepreneurs Forum. He's also the founder and core committee member of Hyderabad Directors and CEO Forum. Mr. BP Padala is the chairman of Roots Collegium. Roots Collegium is a framed international school that has established in 2008 with an insightful conviction of transmitting management education, focusing only on offering undergraduate courses. Next, we have Ms. Savarni. A Joseph G. Gordon Scholar, Ms. Savarni is a senior at Wake Forest University, majoring in politics and Spanish with a minor in Middle East and South Asian studies. Ms. Savarni has also been named a Rhodes Scholar in 2020 and plans to pursue a Master of Public Policy and Master of Science in Refugee and Forced Migration Studies at Oxford University. Ms. Savarni served as Vice President of the Student Association for the Advancement of Refugees at Wake Forest, member of the Dean's Student Advisory Panel, and President's Aide. She has also studied in Spain, Morocco, and Nicaragua. Next, we have the essay category for high schoolers. We have Ms. Christina Deptula. Ms. Christina is in nonprofit communications, international literature, publishing, museum, and planetarium work, and science and tech journalism. Her team is skilled with web copywriting, fundraising, public speaking, academic, and other professional writing. She has served the creative community as a publicist and copywriter for several years. She has launched this business to supplement her own income and to provide employment for people who are skilled and dedicated but are ill, disabled, single parents, or otherwise in need of extra cash and work experience. Next, we have Dr. Nomita Sonti. Dr. Nomita, PhD, is a licensed clinical psychologist with specialization in pain management and behavioral medicine. She joined the faculty of the Department of Anesthesiology, Division of Pain Medicine at Columbia University in 1998. After having spent many years at the National Rehabilitation Hospital, Washington, D.C., she holds the academic title of Associate Professor of Medical Psychology at CUMC. She's also a member of the core faculty for the Psychology Internship Program and Pain Medicine Fellowship at Columbia University. So those are our judges for the rest of the events. And before we end the event, I would like to thank Best Brains Learning Centers, judges, participants, and the Peer Thinkers admin team, Sharmila Gadapati, who's the volunteer director, Ms. Renuka Tadakamala, who's also the volunteer director, and Mr. Ramakrishna Sanka, who's the mentor for making this event possible. Peer is truly honored to be supported by you. Also, a reminder to all of the participants that all other submissions are due tonight, and the results will all be